In today's video, we are using an app called Coacheseye. You can get 10% off down in the description below. But this video, we are checking out Scotty Barnes, what he is able to do on the basketball court that you can do as well so that you can become a potential NBA player. Of course, you need to have high basketball IQ. That is what Scotty Barnes has, and you can get that in the shooting guard blueprint that is down in the description below. Now let's get down and let's check out Scotty Barnes and what he is able to do on the court to be able to do, of course, NBA star player level stuff. So this first play, what we are going to be looking at is, of course, Scotty Barnes, but how he is able to score in this clip, but also his footwork that he used. Now, the footwork that he used does result in a dunk, but you can do this as well for a layup. So when he is coming off of this somewhat kind of screen, it's almost like a staggered screen. He's coming off that screen. He's able to then seal his man. Watch how he was able to do this. A lot of players will do a wide roll, which would have had him on this side of that defender. But instead, he rolls and cuts in front of that main defender that would be guarding him. When he receives this pass right here, it is a 2-on-1 situation. This is how you have to think of basketball. You have to think of your advantages or disadvantages and try and create an opportunity for yourself or a teammate so that you can then, of course, have an advantage to score. So if Şengün, what looks to be Şengün, is able to cut off Scotty Barnes, then this would have been a kick out to the corner. In fact, Brandon Ingram up here actually is pointing to say pass to the corner. However, Scotty Barnes is able to go left foot, right foot, almost simultaneously so that he can get that momentum to go straight to the basket. Now, for a lot of players, this could be a right hand layup or a finger roll on this side of the glass. You would do that because the net would be protecting you from this guy trying to block your shot. However, Scotty Barnes just goes straight up for that two-hand dunk instead. If we actually rewind it, you can see this in somewhat real time. You can see that when he rolls off, he's able to cut his man off, gets that lane to that basket, and then he's able to score. I really don't like how this man cut in this situation. He should have stayed out in the corner. However, I do understand the fact that his man was having his back to Scotty Barnes. This could have been an alley-oop dunk, but I would much prefer him staying out on the three in this situation, mainly because that would be a wide open three-point shot, and the NBA loves their three-point shooting. Now, I'm not going to lie, this next clip will get you benched on most high school basketball teams. This is why I say you still need to watch the NBA. However, you have to really understand how the game is being played. In the NBA, if you have an open three, if you are one of the main guys, you got to be able to take it. So they pass over to this wing. Team is clearly in some kind of a zone because they're not D'ing up Scotty Barnes, who is off screen at this point. And we have to remember that the NBA does use zones, but this middleman right here is not going to be able to sit his butt in the paint. He has to be able to go from side to side of the key. So now what we see in this zone is he should be up. We have to remember that NBA defenses are not exactly the most greatest things ever. And he doesn't have to be up either in this situation. Like, he could have been over and covering that side. I understand why this defender wasn't playing up, because that would be a backdoor cut, because this defender was playing on this side of the key. Zones are really hard to play at the NBA level. However, this skip pass over to Scotty Barnes, quick three, this is why it would get you benched. 17 seconds left on the shot clock. You're taking the first shot that's available. That's a three that's slightly contested. I'm going to say right now that most even prep high school teams would probably bench your butt onto the bench for at least 5 to 10 minutes if you were to miss this shot. However, Scotty made it, so the coach would have just turned around and said, oh, well, he made it. Now, what you're going to see here is a three-point shot. However, how Scotty Barnes was able to communicate to his teammates that he was open is something that a lot of younger players do not do, and that's why I wanted to show it in this video. So Scotty Barnes right here, he puts his hands straight up. Yo, I am open. This team is still running their version of a 2-3 zone, which is hard to play in the NBA. But when his teammate drives and collapses, I would say potentially multiple players, because there's 3 players guarding 2 on this side, he was able to see, because NBA arenas are pretty loud, he wouldn't have been able to hear Scotty Barnes saying I'm open, but the hands straight up, he would have been able to see. You have to communicate, and non-verbal communication is key. Being able to have your hands up is a great way to be able to tell your teammates, yo, I'm open. And that's exactly what we see right here. The pass goes over to Scotty. He's able to bang that three, and of course, the Raptors then inch closer to the Houston Rockets. I really like this play right here because I like how fast Scotty Barnes was able to get that ball out of his hands. And being able to be smart, being able to catch that ball and right away making that next extra pass, in this case to Quickly, was the right decision. Now, he could have been a threat. He could have taken that three. However, look at how close his man was. His man was probably within some kind of maybe 15 feet. Meanwhile, Quickly, there's about 20 plus feet between him and that defender. While this would become a slightly contested shot, this is most likely going to be a wide open shot, and even though it was slightly contested, he was still able to make it. Being able to pass the ball fast in a lot of situations to move that ball. If you get that ball into the paint, kick and swing, if you can do that quickly, you are going to make the defense move. And by making the defense move, you are going to then tire them out. So make that defense move in your next game, and you will have an easier time trying to score. Anyways, if you want higher basketball IQ, make sure to go check out the shooting guard blueprint that is down in the description below so that you can become a smarter and better guard in basketball. I'll see you guys again in my next video. Hit that like button and subscribe.